Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm filming the intro here by the window, literally by the window is like here. The reason why I'm filming standing up and it's kind of like a bit weird is because the lighting's really good and I want my intro to be like good lighting, you know? I've actually filmed half of this video already on my camera, and as I've already told you, every single time I film on my camera something goes wrong. But a few days ago my tripod broke, so I actually can't film at all on my camera. So today I'm going to film a Q&A, and actually this was quite highly requested on my Instagram. If you guys don't follow my Instagram, go follow my Instagram because I post a lot about this channel in general on my Instagram, like polls. I have questions on there. You guys can ask me questions and I'll probably answer them on this channel. I'm gonna oof. Okay, the background isn't very tidy. That's my study area, by the way. We've improvised, we've put a table right by the window. I've got my questions on this piece of paper because obviously the questions thing on my Instagram has ended because it was over a week ago actually. I'm so organized. Right, let's get into it. First question is, how did you pick your A-levels? So, funnily enough, two of my A-levels, so half of my A-levels, I'm taking 4 if you guys don't know already. 2 of my A-levels are A-levels I'd never taken at IGCSE, and that's history and psychology. How this happened is an absolute roller coaster. Psychology was halfway through the year, so I started with Unit 2 psychology instead of Unit 1 psychology. And it's probably the best decision I've ever made in my life. If you're in IGCSE or if you're not in IGCSE, and you're thinking about what A-levels to take, I would definitely recommend psychology. There's just so much. It's biology, it's sociology, it's, I don't know, argumentative. You have to write argumentative pieces of writing. It's a lot, but it's just, well, I can't really give advice on how I picked my A-levels because I kept changing them throughout the year. But I just basically tried to choose the A-levels that I felt like I would need in my degree. And for those of you who don't know already, I'm applying for law in Durham and in Exeter as my insurance choice. Next question is, were you nervous for your first exam? Now, I've told this story a lot of times to a lot of people. I think it's a very important story to tell on this channel because it's shaped me to be the person I am today. My first ever exam was IGCSE Russian, and I took it when I was 14 years old, I think. I think I just turned 15 actually. I was about 14, 15 years old and I took IGCSE Russian. I ended up getting first place in the world. Just a subtle flex right there. The first ever exam was my speaking exam in Russian. The rest of the exams were absolutely fine. I speak Russian fluently. Speaking, I was quite nervous because obviously it's live, you know, the examiner is staring right at you with this judgmental look. They're recording you on a thing. Obviously you're gonna have some nerves and you might stutter a bit and hesitate, you might forget a word, you know. It's my anxiety through the roof, you know. You're a child going into an IGCSE, right? The woman was the most unprofessional woman I've ever had to encounter in my entire life. She insulted me before she started recording, insulted my teacher at my school, my Russian teacher at my school. This examiner was also a Russian teacher in Cyprus. She said, you're so lucky that I'm your examiner because your Russian teacher would have given you the weirdest questions and you would have failed with her, so you should be grateful. And I was like, what is this woman even on about? Why is she insulting my teacher? Okay, calm down. Obviously with this happening right before my, she hadn't even started recording or anything. This was before she started recording, and I was like, if you want to see obviously the full video of what actually happened during that exam, me with my raw emotions as a 15-year-old me, I'm 17 right now, so if you guys actually want to see that video, I'll link it in a card, you can press on it. Right, some things you wish someone told you before A-levels and applying to uni. With my A-levels specifically, now this question was quite difficult for me to actually think of an answer for, because with my A-levels specifically, I was quite supported. I always had a good reason if I wanted to drop a subject. It was kind of okay, now you just have to try hard, and I normally would. With universities, I would suggest that you really block out what other people are telling you about universities. Like, I'm not saying like completely don't listen to anyone, like if someone tells you, like take in some things to account, like selective attention in a way, but don't let that skew your opinion of a university or skew your judgment or skew your decision specifically, because that is probably the worst thing that you could do. I've been told so many different things about all these unis that I've been applying to. It was a roller coaster as well for me, because like one person would say something bad about Durham, another person would say something really good about Durham. But what you have to remember is your experience is your own experience, your decision is your own decision, your opinion is your own opinion. I would suggest you do the research, you go online, you look for students who had been at the uni that you want to apply to. Maybe if you can, contact them, ask them a few questions. If they had a bad experience at that uni, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a bad experience at that uni. Sorry, there's like a really annoying fly in this room to them. So don't do that. Why did I choose Durham as my firm choice? Like from a very young age, I've thought I'm going to be an Exeter studying law. Like that was just something that was almost like a fact for me. This year, that kind of just was shifting all the time. It was like, am I going to be an Exeter, or where am I going to be? Like, what am I going to do? I just said, I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to just let my heart and my mind make that decision for me, like eventually. And luckily it did quite easily. Like it just clicked at one point. It was like, I just want to go to Durham. Personal statements. I started writing it last year in about like maybe June, July. I was following like a set guideline of like personal statements that you would normally find on the internet, like write about this, mention this, like books you've read, this and that. I wouldn't suggest you do that. But your personal statement is only 4,000 characters, not 4,000 words, 4,000 characters, which is actually not a lot. It's like less than a page. In those 4,000 characters, you have to sell yourself basically to the university, and you have to provide evidence that you're passionate about the subject and that you really, really want this. I would not suggest that you follow set guidelines and like, oh, mention this. So yeah, just make it from your heart, like pour all of your heart into it. Don't worry about characters at the very beginning. I didn't worry about characters at the very beginning, like only worry about that when you're like shortening it at the end. It's obviously personal to everyone, and that's why it's called a personal statement. And you don't want yours to look the same, you want yours to stand out. That's the whole point. I really don't like the background because like there's plasters all over the wall because our home is currently being renovated, so just like a disclaimer. But I'm gonna move. I've literally filmed the whole video like with that background, and like at the very end I've like moved it. Anyway, that's the end of today's video. I hope I answered like as many relevant questions as I could. Obviously, if you have more questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, tweet me, whatever. I will answer your question. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel below if you want to see more content. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video.